Good evening. Good evening. You're welcome to our tutorials for today. The subject for today is mathematics. And the topic is, we'll start from functions. Functions, okay? Functions. Functions. So from the definition of function, we are talking about functions of something or functions of a particular entity. No, the function in English language. No. Here we talk about relationship between two variables, okay? You know what variables are, right? So we have dependent variables and what? Independent what? Variables. Independent variables are on their own, but dependent variables are depending on what? On the what? Independent what? Variable. What it means that the value of the dependent variables are computed from the what? Independent what? Variables. Now, what guides this computation? You can say the channel, or what guides this computation is the what? The function. Am I communicating? Good. Now, that's on a layman's understanding of what function is. Now, let's look at what function is mathematically. What is a function? It's a relationship between what? Two variables, such that if function is mathematically, what is a function? It's a relationship between what? Two variables, such that if, so if you have this type of scenario, you talk of what? Function. So in a nutshell, you can say that an independent variable becomes a function of the dependent, and a dependent variable becomes a function of the independent variables if a given value of the independent variable gives exactly one value of the what? Dependent what? Variables. Now, here we can use a simple equation to explain this. Now, but before we go into that, there are one or two terms I want to talk about. Domain, okay? Domain and what? Range, okay? Domain, what? Range. Now, sometimes you see the value of independent variable may not be one. Okay, you may have a set of values of the what? Independent what? Variables. So when you have a set, maybe you can see you can have independent variables like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, or -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the values of the what? Independent variable. So domain gives the range, the set of what? Of values of independent variable that defines a function. I want you to together. Whereas range gives a set of the dependent variables that derive from where? The what? From the where? Domain, through the path of the what? Function. Are we together? Now, so let's assume we have, let me pick one or two equations here to explain this. Let's assume we have something like this. X plus y is equal to 1. X plus y is equal to 1. Are we together? You may say, okay, you can express this y as a function of what? X. If you want to express y as a function of x, what you want to do is you are now tagging y to be what? Dependent variable. All together, y x is the what? the independent variable. And for you to do that, you make y the subject of the what? Formula. Okay? That means you move it to the what? Left. So that means if you make y the subject of the formula, now you have that y is now equal to what? 1. S will come over here, it becomes what? Minus what? X. Now look at what I mean now. This y now, the value of y will depend on the value of this x. True or false? So y is the what? Dependent variable. Yx is the what? Independent variable. So you may have sometimes the value of yx may not just be only 1. It may be 0 minus 1 minus 2 minus 1 0. Let's assume you have a range of x, values of x now. Maybe values of x may be a set of, let's say, minus 1 0 1 2, for example. Now this set of values of the independent variable is called what? Domain. Are we together? Now through this now you can find the corresponding values of y using this equation. That means you put when x minus 1, what will be the value of y? You put it down. When x is minus 0, what will be the value of y? Let's check. Let's use this now. When x, from this equation now, when x is minus 1, what do you think should be the value of y? That means you put minus 1 here, right?
Okay, yes.
So you have that. You know, let's do it here. Let's go. When x is minus 1, y is now equal to what? 1 minus. Remember that x is minus 1, right? Minus what? 1. True or false? Minus times minus is plus, right? Yeah. So 1 plus 1 is what? 2. So here now y is 2. So when x is minus 1, y is what here?
1 minus 0. This place. 1 minus. That x will be 0.
Where?
Chibi, that's what you explain. Like the first one I did, 1 is minus 1.
Yes, see it here.
Yes. Now the second one will be 1 minus 0.
No, we want to get the value of y first. You see what I'm saying now? Our target is to get the value of the dependent variables. When x is minus 1, y is now equal to what? 2. Good. When x is 0, we put 0 here. Well, what is the value of y?
Minus 1. 1 minus 0.
Which is what? No, 1.
1 minus
1 minus 0 is 1. So here is what? 1. Right? Now, so when x is 1,
is 0.
y is what?
0.
0. So here y is what? 0. When x is 2, y is what?
Minus 2.
Minus 1. Good. Do you know the resistance? Look at this now. We have found the values of y at each value of what? X. Now, here now, this becomes the what? This is the what? Domain, right?
Yes.
And this is the what? Range. Does it make sense now? Does it make sense? So this is the set of the what? Value of dependent variable per each value of what? Independent variable. Now, if you want to prove that y is actually a function of x, what it means is that each value of y, x, must give one value of what? Y. For y to be a function of x, one value of what? Of x must give one value of what? Y. Look at it here, x is minus 1, y is what? 2. So it gives one value. Let's check again. Here x is 0, y is what? 1. Here x is 1, y is what? 0. Here x is 2, y is what? Minus 1. So because one value of the independent variable, which is x, gives exactly one value of what? Dependent variable, which is y. That means y is a function of what? X. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So this is how to determine when y is when the independent variable is a function of what? Independent variable. Let's assume now that maybe one value of x will start giving you two values of y, 1 minus 1 or plus 1. In that case now, x y is not a function of what? X. Because it must give one, exactly one what? Value. Good. Now, so with that at the back of our mind, let's test and let's test another one now. We want to test to check whether x is a function of what. How you put this one down? Please put it down, please. But the expression is clear, right?
Yes.
Good. Okay, look at this one. Look at this one. Look at this one. S squared plus what? Y squared is equal to what? 1. Want to check whether y is a function of what? X. Let's check. That means let's make y the subject of the what? Formula. Let's go. So y squared is equal to what? 1 minus what? X squared. So we make for us to bring out y, that means we this square sign on getting here becomes what? Square root, right? Or simply find the square root of both sides, okay? Square root of both sides will give here becomes what? Y is equal to what? Square root of what? 1 minus what? X squared. But remember, the square sign always go with this sign. Hope you remember. Plus or what? Minus. So if that is the case now, it then implies that actually that y is either plus what? Root 1 minus what? S squared, or what? Minus what? Root 1 minus what? S squared. So with this alone, it's clear that y is not a function of what? X. Do you know why? If you look at it now, it is any value of y x you put here will give you two values. So if you assume that let's look at the domain we used in the previous one. We use what? S equal to what? Minus 1, 0, 1 and what? 2. This is the domain we use. Now let's put it here. Let's put minus 1 for 1 for x. Let's substitute minus 1 for x here. Let's go. If you put minus 1 here, remember this is something I'm saying 1 minus what? X should be here, right? Minus 1 should be here, right? All what? Squared. All together. So x minus 1 squared is what? 1. 1 minus 1 is what? 0. So here is what? 0. Y is 0. Or y is minus what? Y is what?
If x is 0, y will be
Y will be what? Anyway, this value doesn't really. Remember, his square root, right?
Yeah.
Square root of 0 is what? Square root of 0 is what? Yeah. Square root of 0 is what? Let me look for a value that is give us straightforward answer. So we don't. Let's look for another value. Okay, let's start from. Let's use. Okay, let's use 0. Okay, okay. Let's use 0. So if you use 0 now, if you put 0 here, everything will become what?
0.
No, here is minus 0. So this is plus root 1 is what?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Huh?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Substitute 0 for x here.
Okay, when that okay, yes, it's minus 1.
So if you substitute 0 here, what will happen? If you substitute x 0 for x, here becomes what?
Minus 1. Because it will be 1 minus 0.
Which is what?
Minus
1 minus 0 is not
1.
minus
Wait,
1.
1. Sorry.
Is what?
1.
1. So here, square root of 1 is what? 1, right? Okay, so here becomes what? 1. Here becomes what? 1, okay? Here becomes what? 1. And here is what?
Minus 1.
Or minus what?
1.
Minus 1. Are we together?
Yes.
1 or minus what? 1. So here you see that y has what? 2 values. Y has what? 2 values. Okay? See, this is confusing. This step I put here can be confusing. Let me follow the normal step, Substitute everything inside here, okay? So here, if you substitute everything inside here, it becomes y is equal to what? Plus or minus what? Square root of what? 1, right?
Yes.
Right? Good. Which is what? Plus or minus what? 1. True of us. So that means y can be what? Plus 1 or what? Minus 1. It has 2 values. This shows that y is not a function of what? X in this equation. Are we together? Yes. The same thing, if you put all the other values, it will give you 2 values.
Yes.
Unlike the other one, that will give you just exactly one what? Value. In that case now, y is a function of what? X. Is it clear?
Yes.
Is it clear? So this is exactly what happens when we want to remember that y is the what? The dependent what? Variable. Yx is the what? Independent what? Variable. Okay. So you can test these ones.
Should I do it now?
Hmm?
Should I do it now?
Are you done with this? Can I clean? I want to write that some. You do it now and tell me whether y is look at these ones. We have s squared plus y is equal to 1. And we have x plus y squared is equal to 1. X plus y squared. When you are done, just do this in your book now and let me know the one that is where y is a function of x and one where y is not a function of x.
Okay, I should try the book.
And yes, try it now. Okay, so tell me, you're done with this, right?
Yes.
Okay. In this one now is why a function of x here?
Yes, we give one value.
Okay, which value will it give you? What do you use as a dependent value there?
-1.
Okay, so what did they give you?
0.
0. Let's see. Y is equal to what? 1 minus what?
X
S squared. So this is what? 1 minus what?
-1.
Minus 1, right? Squared. Which is 1 minus what? 1. Which is what? 0. I agree. So here now. No. No, I don't agree. Sorry. Okay, so this first one, yeah, I agree.
Yes.
So I got confused with this one. Okay, did you try this second one?
Yes.
So is it? What did they give you?
Square root
It has two values, right?
2. Yes.
Because of the what?
The square.
Because of the square root. Okay. Because here now, y will now become what? Y will now become what? Y square will now become what? 1 minus what? X. Therefore, y is equal to what? Square root of what? 1 minus a. And then plus and minus c. So this will give us what? 2 values. Because this will give us 2 values. Because this will give us 2 values. It makes this y here not to be a function of what? X. It's clear, right? Good. So you can represent these things are listed now in as a graph, okay? How many equations have I listed? Let me see all the equations. Call the first one. From the beginning.
So, is it that domain?
Yes, yeah. All the equations I've called so far.
-1.
No. I mean equation, not values.
Okay, x plus y is equal
X plus what
y
is equal to what?
1.
1.
Y is equal to, sorry, x squared plus y squared.
S squared plus what?
Y squared is equal to 1. X squared plus y is equal to 1. And x plus y squared is equal to 1.
Is equal to what? 1. Good. We can represent these 4 equations now graphically. We can just have a sketch. For this first one now, look up. Look up here. Here, in this x plus 1 x plus y is equal to 1. Here, if you watch now, when x is 0 here, when x is 0, here now, for this first one now, when x is equal to 0, what will look up? What will be the value of y? Eh? When x is 0, what will be the value of y? Check where. When x is 0, put 0 here. What will be the value of y?
Sorry, is it that y I should put?
I say when x is 0, what is the value of y? That's the question.
I don't understand.
When x is 0 in this equation, what will be the value of y?
Okay, y. Sorry.
When x is 0 here, what will be the value of y? That's the question.
It should just be y because 0 plus y.
What is this equation? Call it again. Call it out.
It's a linear.
No, call it out now. Call
X
it.
plus y equals to 1.
So when x is 0, what will be the value of y?
1.
1, good. So y is what? 1. In this one now. Now, when y, in this same equation, when y is 0, x is what?
1.
X is what? 1. Good. Because if you put 0 here, x is 1. If you put 0 here, y is what? 1. So, y is what? 0. Now, look up. So, you can have a plot like this. Get this. Get this. This is 0. This is, what axis is here?
The y axis.
Here is what?
X.
X what? Axis. Now look up. Look up. Look up. When x is 0 here, you can label this 1 what? 2, 3. Here is, this is positive side of y, and this is negative side of what? Y. Hope you know what I'm doing. Huh? This is positive side of x and negative side of x. So here is what? 1, 2 and what? 3. Here is what? Minus 1, minus 2 and what?
3.
No, 3. So when x is 0, this is x now, this is 0, right? Y is what? 1. So y is what? 1. Okay? Good. But when x is 1, this is x, right?
Yes.
Y is what?
0.
0. So this thing can cut like this. Cut from here. Are you together?
Yes.
And cut from here. This is a what? Graph of this what? Equation x plus y is 1. Y is equal to what? 1. It cuts across here. This is x is 1. When x is 1, when y is 0, x is what? 1. And when x is 0, y is what? 1. So this is for this particular what? Equation. Now let's look at this second one. This second one now, see how it will look like. From this second one, when x is 0, y is what? Y is what? Is plus or minus square root of 1, right? So that means when x here, this second one, when x is 0, y is actually what? Plus or minus what? Root 1, which is simply what? Plus 1 or minus, true of us? Plus 1 or what? Minus 1. Okay? Plus 1 and minus 1. Now, but what happens when y is 0? The same thing, right?
Yes.
X is what?
Minus 1 plus 1.
Plus 1. Are we together?
Yes.
Now, if you want to plot this, can I clean this?
Yes.
So let's use this in again to represent this one. So look up. In this second equation, when x is 0, see x here. Y is what? Minus 1. So y will cut. This is y, right?
Yes.
Minus 1. This is okay, this is x is 0. Y is what? See y here. 1 and minus what? 1. Are we two together?
Yes.
1 and minus what? 1. Are we together? Good. Now, but when y is 0, x is what? The same 1 and plus 1 minus 1. Are we together?
Yes.
You can join this together and form a circle like this. Okay? You can join that. So this is what you see for this particular one. Now, this second one, this third one, x squared plus y is equal to what? 1. So when x is 0, y is what?
Plus or minus 1.
No, this one. When x is 0, y is what? Good. When x is 0, y is what? 1. When y is 0, x is what?
When y is 0.
S is what?
1.
Check where.
When y is 0. 0.
When y is 0, s is what?
Minus 1.
Check where. What are you saying? When y is 0, x is what?
Okay. So
So when y is 0, x is what?
Plus or minus 0.
Plus 1 minus what? 1. Are we together?
Yes.
Check it well now. If here is 0, how do you get x?
Okay.
How do you get x?
What did you say?
You hear me and you're saying, okay, when y is 0, how do you get x here?
This one.
You do what?
This one.
What to go this side?
Should we say when x is 0?
When y is 0, s is what?
Plus 1 or minus 1.
How?
Because it will be x squared plus 0 equal to 1. Like, should we say when y is 0? So it will be x squared plus 0 equal to 1. Then if you now want to make it to stand, now plus 1 or minus 1.
If you make it to stand,
Like, if you want to, after solving, you give it plus 1.
how? It seems you don't understand how.
No,
So tell me what happened. I want you to tell me what happened. How did it become plus or minus 1?
okay.
So tell me, feel free, tell me. I want to know.
Y will be 0. So what we have is x squared plus 0. X squared plus 0 equal to 1. X squared. Okay. Yes, it's now 0 is equal to 1 minus s squared.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to-
Yeah, you are doing what? Is that what I was saying? Is that what I thought I
It will carry plus or minus.
How?
plus.
How will it
Because
carry
of the
plus or minus?
square that is there.
eh?
Because of the square that is there.
You didn't understand what I was saying since.
No, I understood. It's just
Then explain it now. If you understood, explain. If you don't understand, tell me that I will explain to you. You are talking about a different thing. If x square is plus y is equal to 0,
yes.
equal to 1,
Yes.
and when y is 0, x become x square plus what?
0.
0 is equal to 1. This is 0 is insignificant. X square is now equal to what? 1. So how do you get x?
You square it so that
Is it square?
You do the square root so that you can get x.
How do you do it? Square root of where?
You are going to do x is equal to square root plus or minus. That's all.
That's what I want to hear since.
Okay.
You're telling me long story since. So here, x becomes what? Plus 1 and minus what? 1, right? So y is equal to what? 0. Good. So now, with this, let's now still use the same word. Have you sketched this? Please do it so that I can draw that of s fast. So after this, I will look at how to use notation, the function notation. I think that's where we end our class for today. How we use because there are some questions you see. It will carry this notation so that you understand, you know what it is and how to apply it. You're done. Okay, now let me. Here is still 1, right? Here is minus 1, right? Okay, good. Here is 0. Now, when x is 0, y is what? 1. So this is x, right? When x is 0, y is what? 1. So, okay? We put here, we can put an asterisk here, okay? So, but when y is 0, X is now double, minus 1 and what? Plus 1, right? Remember, when y is 1, x is what? 0, right? That's what we got here. When y is what? When y is what? When x is 0, y is what? 1. Now, but when y is 0, x is what?
When y is 0, x is plus 1 or minus 1.
X is what?
Plus 1 or minus 1.
Plus 1 or what?
Minus 1.
Minus what? 1. So here, x is what here, right?
Yes.
True or false? And what?
Yes.
So we can join this asterisk now, and I'll get something like this. A curve that looks like this, okay?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So when x minus 1, 1 plus 1, x, then y is what?
1.
1. So put this one down. You know, this is a sketch. You just say, I'm just using a free hand to draw the sketch. But this is how it look like if you plot it as a curve. It will go like this. Are you done? All right, let's continue. So, let's look at this. Let's look at the last one. X plus y squared is equal to what? 1. Now let's look at it. Let's represent it as a graph. On a graph. Now, let's find different values. So, here now, when x is 0 here, y becomes what?
Plus 1 or minus 1.
Good, good. When x is 0, y becomes what? Plus 1 minus what? Minus 1 plus 1 is okay.
Yes.
Minus 1 plus 1. Now, when y is 0, what is x?
When y is 0, 1.
X is what? 1.
Yes.
So now, we can, let's represent this, okay? Let's represent this. Let me clean up again. So we have something like this. Here is still 1, hope you know.
Yes.
Here is still 1 also what? 1. Here is what? 1. Now, let's represent it here. When x is 0, y is plus 1 and minus 1. So, here is x, right? When x is 0, okay? Y is what? This is y. Minus 1. This is 1. This is what? Minus 1. Are we together?
Yes.
So, when x is 0, y is what? 2 values, here and what?
Here.
Here. Okay? When x is 0, y is this and this.
Yes.
But when y is 1, this is y, right? So when x is 1, sorry, x is 1 here, right?
Yes.
Y is what? 0. So 0y, then x is here. So we can join this and get something like this. This is how it will look like.
Yes.
The curve. This is how it was look like. So this is the graph for what? How the graph for this equation will look like. Now with this, I think we have I want to give an assignment here. Solve it and in our next class, let's see what you're able to achieve. So I put it down. following equations define, can I clean? Okay, sorry, you're still, well, when you are done, let me give the assignments for the day. Okay, now let's continue. Okay, so let me clean. Okay, take down this assignment. Which of the following equations below define y as a function of x? Which of the following equations below, this is from your course material. This is, which of the following equations below, let me write it down. Is there any need for that? Okay, which of the following equations below define y as a function of what? X. Number 1, x minus y is equal to what? 1. Number 2, s squared this is the first part of the assignment, okay? Then the second part of the assignment says determine, number 2. Okay, you're still writing this one. The second part of the assignment says, that question number 2 says determine whether each equation, determine whether each of the equations below is defined as a function of what? X. Wait. The question should be determine whether y in each of the equations below. Determine whether y in each of the equations below. Are you there? Is defined as a function of what? X, yes. So the A part says, the A part of the question says, or A part or the first part says s squared plus y is equal to 4. Then number 2, s squared, this is almost a repetition of the first one, but let's just take it down and compare the two of them. So this is the assignment for today. This is the assignment for today. Any questions so far? Any question? So go home, look at these things, solve them critically. Let's see how far we can go from it in our next class. Okay, in the absence of any question, I believe that anytime a function is mentioned, you now know what it means, right?
Yes.
Yeah? Good. No matter how the question comes, whether you see graphical form, you can actually point it out, right?
Yes, sir. Can I ask
Ask.
you? You know that this one that we're doing, you brought down values. This one, is it like if I want to do it, I'll use my head and say when x is equal to
Yes, you can get test values of your own here. You can use any value of your. This is a test. You want to test whether y is a function of what? X. So you can fix any value of your choice to test.
but it must be an independent value.
Independent value. Let me understand what you mean.
You say I can pick any value from my head, like you can
It's for yes. You know it's for independent now. It's when you impute the value of the independent here, you can now get the value of the what? Dependent, and compare, check whether the value dependent will give you one value or more than one value. If it gives you more than one value, that means why the dependent is not a function of the what? The independence. Because x is the independent and y is the what? Dependent. Alright, we'll stop here for today. In our next class, we go into the notation. Notation, you start seeing something like this, f of x. So that I want you to internalize this so that when we get to this place, it will not be, and that's why sometimes they say that this is certain as y. There's a reason for that.
okay.
Don't worry, in our next class. Alright, thank you very much for your attention. God bless you.
Oh.
No problem.